This podcast is a proud member of the Unidentified Network.
On the Track is a monthly web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues, and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy!
So, what have we got exciting that's coming up in this episode, Mr. John?
Well, Harris, in this week's episode, we have the second part of my long conversation with our old friend Bill Rigby.
I really like the old credits.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortune. What? Over there, I can hear the sound of marching, charging feet. Boy, summer's here, and it's time for the chickens dancing in the street. Oh yes. What would you do if the chickens start to dance? What would you do if they start to strut and prance? What would you do if chickens all start to pirouette? Would you think it was jolly good fun or go out for a cigarette? Now the chickens have gone off to the next place on their world tour, or, well, actually, tour of my garden, especially behind the compost heap, where there seems to be something particularly interesting for them. But let's get on with the show. Good afternoon. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortune Zoology, and welcome to another episode of On the Track. For those of you who don't know, every Wednesday evening at 6:30 for about a quarter of an hour, and every Saturday afternoon from at 3 o'clock for about twice that, we bring you a mixture, a melange, a montage, a medley, and all sorts of other things beginning with M. Once again, Miss Lauren is still on holiday, so I haven't got her here to shout something beginning with M at me. So I'm going to have to record her doing that a lot when she comes back. But what is it a medley and a mishmash and everything else of? It's a mixture of hard science, weird shit, and surreality. What's surreality? Well, let's go and ask him.
Hello. I refuse to be on the same televisual platform as a group of ill-disciplined, dancing domestic fowl. So there.
Now we've got all that over, it's time to get on with the show. But first, have a look at this. I have no bandages on, I have no dressings on, and the scar, or the wound on the heel of my hand, is healing very nicely. In fact, it's better than it was yesterday. So it's a good job that I filmed it today, otherwise by next week there might not be any scabby bits left. Thank you to everybody who sent me your prayers and good wishes. It's already feeling better than it was, and the other day I managed to pick up my guitar and even make chord shapes the first time in years. So thank you very much indeed, my dears. I am a true believer in the power of prayer, and I'm also a true believer in the power of good vibes, and you guys are sending me both in large amounts, and I truly appreciate it. Now, on with the show. What is in this week's show? As I already told Hennis earlier, it's going to be the second part of my conversation with Bill Rigby, who at the moment's not very well. He's in hospital, so we're sending him good vibes and healing vibes and good vibes and prayers and everything, and hopefully he'll be better again soon. But here's the second part of our conversation with him about his research into Bigfoot.
We go there. We start, as soon as we got up to the one tree line to go in and circle up to where he said he had it, the sighting, found a large footprint right away in the soft area where water ran off, and it's drying up. But you can tell it's a regular footprint, 14 inches long, about 7.25 inches wide. And it went down about a good inch and a quarter deep. And it's like, okay, Debbie, we got something going on here. But me and her both come to the conclusion they're using that area to travel from one area to another area. They're not hunting there. They're not building structures, but we have found prints throughout, like they're walking through there. And now this farmer used to travel all over his property. Now he won't go unless he has a gun on him because it scared him so bad. His wife said he come in the house white after he saw it. So, and everything he said, they just to believe he did really see it. And now I have had a few that it's like, okay, maybe you saw something. But you still got to take interest in what they're telling you and what they saw and how their reactions are with it. You got to listen to the whole story and to understand what they're going through. And sometimes I know exactly what they're going through. And because of my experience. And if you don't listen, you're playing them off as, oh, they're nuts or whatever. You're just doing them an injustice in yourself.
And
document it all. Say that again, Jonathan?
And the subject. You're doing the subject an injustice as well.
Yes, very much so. And because you got to document all this stuff. Then check your references for that area and other sightings and the whole 9 yards, and there's a lot more work into our research than people know. They think, well, we just walk around in the woods. No, we don't. I do some serious investigating, and I got several good friends in this field that goes out and do some serious investigating. And the one couple, I call them my mentors, and they don't understand what goes on, and that where Jamie and Jenny does, and they look at things very, very well, and try to decide, and they don't know for sure what's happening and where it's happening until they get there. And me and Jamie's been on several investigations together, and he's more thorough than I am. And I thought I was pretty thorough, but he's more thorough than I am. And it's awesome to go out and with other researchers and see how they do their investigating. Um, I've been out with, like I said, several, and you learn a trick or two from each one. And all right, Atlas down. And my pain in the butt dog wants attention, but they and I learned some tricks, and I know some people learned some tricks from me, so that's good. But we got to be true to our research. We got to be true to the people that are giving us the information. They don't want their names out there. Don't put their names out there. They don't want the exact location, which I never give the exact location. I don't want 100 people trumping through their area. If they don't want the area known at all, say I've been in a certain county, I can't give exact location of a sighting and stuff like that. You got to be true to them because this is their report, not mine. I'm just taking it and dictating it. So that's how I look at it. And I do believe one day soon, and hopefully in my time that I'm still alive, that we do have enough evidence to prove that they exist to the whole world. And that's, well, I'm in the same group you are in with Daniel and Chris and everyone. So we can share information and help each other with our investigations and stuff. And that's what it's all about. If we don't work together, we're not going to get it out there.
I was interested when you said that you got your PTSD came from your encounter with Bigfoot.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
I've always thought that to encounter something as abnormal as that, as close as you did, would be something that would screw up your head. And you're the only person I've ever met who admits that they did get PTSD from this. And I think that's really important.
Why lie? Why lie? That's not helping anything. I can't deny what happened to me, okay? And I don't expect anyone to deny what happened to them when they've seen it. I met a farmer that said he won't need to go back into the woods hunting like he used to. He used to hunt his own property. He won't do it. He stays on his main roadways to his area that he grows his crops. He won't go into the woods. It scared him that bad. I know hunters that said the same thing. So, I'm just fortunate enough that I was able to get through this and keep on researching and sharing what I found out. And whatever I find, I try to share on public forums and everything. And it's just crazy that some people don't do that. Some groups don't do that. We got to share the information so we can learn from each other.
Oh, I agree entirely. Have you had any other encounters since your initial one?
I felt like I did, but I can't honestly say for sure because I didn't see them. I've heard it. I felt like something was stalking me at one point, and I can't say for sure if it was one or not. And for anyone that over here in the States, if you had an encounter and you sure it wasn't a bear? Well, I've been in the woods all my life, 100 bears. I know what bears look like. And that sure in the heck wasn't a bear. Could that have been stalking me? Yes, it could have been. Could have been a Bigfoot? It could have been. I just don't know. I honestly, I can't say for sure. I'd like to be able to say it, but I don't know. I did not see it. Now, the one area I research, it's a 200-acre hunting camp, as the gentleman calls it. They've had sightings there, and as of late, they had one this past fall. They were the guy was staying in the one cabin in there, which is a small little cabin. He gets out to go to the bathroom, and he saw this large thing headed down toward the creek, thinking, ain't no man headed down there that tall, this like in the middle of the night. And then he realized, oh my God, that's over 8 foot tall. So, and just in the same general area, a guy was coming, going to work at 4 a.m, come down off the hill and made the turn, and the one creek runs near there. And you come down and hit the turn and go right across the bridge. He saw someone large jump off the bridge. Now it's 30 feet down to the creek, which super huge rocks. And he thought somebody was trying to commit suicide. And this is a non-believer. He stops his car, jumps out, runs over to the edge, and he's looking down to see if he can see a body. And it's kind of dark, so he's not sure. But then all of a sudden, he hears a splash, splash, splash. Excuse me. He looked up and saw this huge thing running up the bank. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to say it is it, but I ain't going to deny it either. He still won't totally admit they exist. Now, I've talked to him several times, and it still freaks him out, but he won't admit they exist. So, yeah, myself, I haven't really had any experience there. I did find some tree breaks. I found prints. Have I seen anything there? No, but they have seen them through there for a while. This one person says there's a family pot of 9 there. He said he mind melted with them or something like that. And it's like, okay, that's a possibility. But there was to me, they're in there. Is it a family of 9? I don't know. It's a very wooded area, very rough terrain too, in some areas of it. And someone said they live up across that creek on up toward the top is where they live, but they come down and across. And I searched both sides and I found different, presumably evidence of such other than the tracks. And then the tracks tells me yes. But you know, you go where you're asked to go and try to figure this out. And he's had other researchers in there, but he's constantly calling me to come back and do more research. So that must say he likes what I'm doing. And the one night I did go up on the other side of the creek. It was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I went up. I just sat down on this log, and took my backpack off. I was going to get my night vision out and my recorder, and I had a couple of little stones coming over my shoulder and landing. I went, oh, heck no, I'm by myself. I don't have nothing ready. I should have had the recorder out and my night vision out before I walked up in there. I said, okay, I'm out. I threw the stuff back in my backpack, and I didn't even put it over my shoulder. I walked out of there. A few weeks later, we were back there. Debbie went with me up in there, and we walked in. I says, yeah, I was sitting here. On this side of me over here was a high wall, rock high wall. So there was nothing there. And to the other side was the creek down over and the path I was coming in on. But these things come over my shoulder. And I'm looking around, and I went, hold it. It was so dark, I couldn't see anything.
We're
But
running.
that stuff, it came over my shoulder. And I look up, the tree canopies up there was solid. All the leaves. I did not hear that stuff come down through the leaves. That sucker was close behind me. Whoever was tossing the little stones.
Bill, we're going to have to leave it there because we have less than a minute left. I think I've got 32 seconds left.
All right.
But
thank you.
Can we do this again? Can we do this again soon? Because I've got a lot more to ask you.
All right, definitely. We can do.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page, and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer, who's an ever more regular visitor to my little studio, says, don't forget to ring the notification bell, otherwise you'll miss the new episodes. And that would be an awful pity, wouldn't it?
If you've been affected by any of the topics in today's episode, you can just bugger off, because we don't give a monkeys. Bloody well get a grip. Sort your own bloody problems out rather than ringing up somewhere.
And that's just about that for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to say a big thank you to my guest, Bill Rigby, and to V. McCrinnan and Richard Freeman for their contributions, and to my producer, Louis, who's still rampaging around the southern states of the United States. I've heard he's bought himself a pair of 6-shooters and a horse, and he's going around pretending to be the Lone Ranger. But I'll bring you more evidence of that when it happens. Thank you very much to my Deputy Director, Graham Inglis, who's also my carer. He's the guy who gets me up in the mornings, puts me to bed at night, makes sure that I take my medicine at the right time, not, as I quite often do, left to my own devices, losing touch and completely forgetting to take it, which puts my whole body out of sync for several days. And he's the guy who takes me to hospital when I have operations and basically looks after me. If it wasn't for you, my dear boy, I'd probably be dead. Thank you, Graham. And I want to say a big thank you to the lovely Gwyn Palmer, who is the Assistant Director of the CFZ and my assistant, and who is doing so much of the work now. She's doing stuff that otherwise I would have done, but I'm just no longer able to do. Thank you, love. You are an absolute godsend. I'm going to be back next week. What are we talking about next week? Well, I believe we're going to be having a conversation with Thomas from Hid Denmark, who popped in to see me the other day whilst he's on a holiday here in the West Country, and he tells us about the things that he has found interesting about his visits to 14 locations around the place. And we also talk about the similarities between British Forteana and Scandinavia Forteana, and it's a very interesting conversation. And so I'm going to be there doing the live chat and the notifications and everything. Mr. McCrinnan, are you going to be there? Mr. McCrinnan. Because if you're going to be there, Mr. McCrinnan, and you're going to be watching Mr. McCrinnan, I'll be seeing you.